It might be too
fire.
big.
It's a fuzz of fire.
That's actually real big. Maybe I'll go with the smaller one. I don't know. We'll have to be. I'll have to double check.
Yeah, we're gonna be playing with
half a body length of fire.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
I had to. The second Lauren started saying fuzz of fire, I'm like, that's perfect for our Friday afternoon.
Fuzzy fire. Yay.
So
I'm so
hi
excited.
everyone. Welcome. It is time for another Paint and Slay, and you have me, V Muse, and above me, Lauren Arbin. She's going to be helping us, or we're going to be working together rather, with painting the last little bit that we had going for the Orkira Kit Bash. This is something that we have put together using two different miniatures from WizKids D&D Nolzur's Marvelous Miniatures line. We use the Dragonborn Clerics, and we also use the... She flew away. We use the blue wormling for the wings. And yes, I have Rory helping me out here, which she was not helping. So before we get going with that, I'm going to pick up Orkira. And then, Lauren, what do we have going on for the game this week before we start getting into the finishing up your beautiful PC?
So, I mean, we had an announcement that happened yesterday that was real cool. That was about the next champion that's coming to Idle Champions. Nixie, yay! I mean,
I like how we have the fire theme going.
I mean, Orkira is not necessarily as 100% into fireballs as Nixie is, but you know, if you're in the if you love fireballs, then you're gonna love Nixie. You can find out more about her. I know Garwar was just talking about her in the show right before us, but you can also check out the blog and the video, which is up on the Idle Champions YouTube. So you can go check. Yeah, you can go check those out now. She comes out on Wednesday with the running.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is the running.
I'm like, wait, what event are we in? Oh, go. Nope, it's the running. Okay.
It's the running. Because I've been living in November and December the past week. So I'm like, crap, I used to do that one.
Yeah. Yep. So we have that. And then this weekend, well, I think it would have started like 3 minutes ago.
Yeah.
We have our new weekend to help you with all of your weekend events. We have a couple of buffs for a couple of awesome champions that you can go check out. Also, make sure you keep an eye out for your newsletter, which should be coming in your email in the next couple of hours. So you can get your free gold chest, the free Archmage gold chest.
Yes.
It's a free gold chest. There you go. Have a chest.
It has stuff in it for free.
And then finally on Monday, return with us to Familiar Quest. It continues 5 p.m. Pacific on this very channel. The YouTube going up, the video going up on YouTube shortly afterwards. And yeah, things are getting interesting. Also, sorry, I mean, you should watch because of the plot. You should also watch just for the number of times that everybody just cracks each other up, because I think it's turning into a game and I'm here for it. So definitely check out the show, check out the VODs on our YouTube, check out the clips that are going up on Shorts and TikTok. That's right. We're doing the Shorts and TikTok thing. Follow us on TikTok. We have a tick and a talk. I'm not old. So go ahead and check that out on Monday. Here, I'll even put.
You're not. I'm like, no.
You know what? We're so behind on the socials thing. I think our TikTok is in there. Yes.
Yay.
I was making sure in the list of socials that our TikTok was actually listed in there. So there you go. There's all of our socials. Check them out. And I think that's
That is
everything. As far as
everything.
like announcements, I will also say we have the amazing Gabe in chat as our moderator for today, who will be grabbing questions. So if you do have any questions about painting or Orkira or fire, go ahead and ask those in chat with question in big capital letters so that Gabe can grab it and save it for me to look at when I am not playing with fire.
Yep.
Also, I will just say this in advance. If you happen to have watched Adventurer's Guide to the Multiverse on Wednesday, which is on the Dungeon Scrollers channel, something happened with Orkira that suddenly made this specific mini a little more canon.
There we go.
That's what I'm going to say. That's all you're going to get. And now shall we continue on with the fur?
Yep. There we go. I say we do it. So here we're going to pick up where we left off. So we finished off by getting some beautiful scarlet red around the wrap that Orkira is wearing. Now we're going to need to go back to scarlet red because we also have this little bit of fabric underneath the armor on the tail that I want to make sure we get with that scarlet red as well. So we're just going to go straight for scarlet red, which is this beautiful ruby red tone of a red. And you might want to thin that paint just a little bit again, depending on how thick it is. Again, if it's thick like toothpaste, you need to thin it out. You want to aim for warm maple syrup.
Yeah, I think a lot of the paints in this set have been on the thick side, which I think is a good thing because that just means they last longer.
Right.
But yeah, it certainly means every single time I put a little bit on the plate, I'm like, oh, where's my eyedropper? Oh,
yeah.
Why is this so thick?
I was super happy this past weekend. I was cleaning out some paint supplies and I found one of my empty Vallejo bottles. So I filled it up with water. I'm like, yes.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yep.
I have to remember to do that. I'd never even thought about that.
Yeah, just when you get to an empty or mostly empty, because obviously there'll still be like paint on the sides and everything like that. When you get to a mostly empty bottle of paint where you truly cannot get any more paint out, what you can always do is put in straight up rubbing alcohol, and it pretty much strips it down, and then you can clean it out like, you know, with sometimes depending on the size of the bottle like a pipe cleaner type of thing. And it's a nice way to clean it out.
Okay, so we've got under the tail, and then are we also doing are we doing the in-between bits of the tail armor and the thigh armor? I can't quite tell.
No, we're gonna keep that. We're gonna keep that as cloth pants in the gray tone.
Okay.
But if you look at the art for the skin, Orkira has some red fabric around the tail. I'm like, oh, how perfect. There is red fabric, or there's fabric around the tail of this one, so let's paint it red.
I mean, Ancient Orkira is all about just giving into the fire colors.
I mean, embracing the fire magic. I'm here for it.
Yeah. Or at least the fire colors. She's always embraced the fire magic, but I think she's tried to avoid, or maybe it's me, I don't know. She's tried to avoid being terribly cliche. Be like, and she's she's already a dragonborn with fire stuff and fire. So, but hey, you know, when you're going to be the avatar of the Phoenix at this point, you just gotta give in to the colors.
Yeah, I mean, you know, fire is going to be a thing.
Yeah. Also, I just got it all over the shield, so
oops. Well, I mean, we are going to go into painting the shield in a little bit, so it should be okay.
Yeah.
It should be okay. So yeah, we have that little bit to get onto that part of the tail. And then while that dries, what we can do is pick up our cobalt scales, and we're going to start dry brushing the fabric of the scarf and that panel that's hanging off the belt. And then hopefully by the time we're done with those areas, we can get to the back of the tail and do a little bit of the cobalt scales dry brushing on that too.
All right, cobalt scales, where are you?
It's like that lovely reddish orange, which I am now looking for. Where'd you go? No, I'm not looking for a Tarask. There they are. Here's my cobalt scales. And again, just a smaller flat brush will do the trick.
Rough Rider 1995 asks, will Lauren lip sync to Bardic inspiration songs? I mean, I have no specific. Oh, for TikTok. Okay. I'm like, I have no specific reason to. Why would I do that? But that makes way more sense.
Yeah.
As a reminder, I am very I am not necessarily the most TikTok savvy person. I mostly watch Luke scroll through TikTok, but I'm gonna learn a lot. Probably not, because why have me lip sync when you could just have Jason Charles Miller actually singing?
And that's true.
You
That
know?
is true.
I appreciate the suggestion though.
Mm-hmm.
Um Now, probably our TikTok and our shorts, at least for the foreseeable future, are going to be mostly, the content that we put out into the world.
Yeah.
What am I dry brushing again with the cobalt scales?
You are dry brushing the scarf area.
Ah, okay. I'm like, you said what we were doing, and then I
You
got
said
very
the thing and then
distracted.
TikTok distraction.
Yeah, which, probably is a fair thing to
It is
happen
a
to a lot of people.
fair. Yeah. I was doing what now?
Yeah. There's a thing happening, and, but now I'm just doing a dance. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I try not to be that, old person yells at cloud on TikTok, but I am definitely learning a lot.
What?
I don't want
No.
to.
Old person looks at cloud. This is like the first turn phrase I've heard this time. What?
Old person yells at cloud. You've never heard that? It's the Simpsons meme of I think it's Grandpa Simpson, and literally it's him shaking his fist at the sky, and there's a cloud, and the title of the news article is "Old Person Yells at Cloud."
No, that I did not connect the dots on those two things. I'm picturing like this little old man for some reason being filmed yelling at a cloud. Like I'm not connecting it at all to the Simpsons. I'm thinking like an actual elderly gentleman yelling at the clouds.
You're not that far off, to be honest. No, but that's just become my touchstone for the I've become. I don't want to become that person who gets too old to not learn about new things.
Fair.
And I know TikTok is not necessarily new, but you know what? It's never too late to learn about older things that are newer to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Fair. Totally fair. My goodness, have I been under a rock?
Nope, that's okay. That's okay. I did kind of say that out of nowhere, so.
Oh, funny though. So yep, just gonna go around and work this color in a dry brush technique. And you can see it gives it like this lovely warm glow to the fabric now. You feel like
there we go. I feel like
tonight, I'm like chicken tonight. I
don't know. We'll have to figure it out. You're closer to tonight than I am, so.
I am. Yes, I've moved into the afternoon portion of the event.
Mm-hmm.
That is the wild thing, working on the East Coast for a Pacific Coast company. Because my days, they fly by. For some reason, it's like until I get to about 4 o'clock, my days are like zippity-doo-dah. They just keep going.
Yeah.
And then it gets to around 4 o'clock, and then I'm like, oh, it's the afternoon. Okay.
It's always
like
fun.
Time gets more reasonable.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's also very fun for me to wake up and log in and be like, oh, V has done everything. Because you've just been up for a while. Oh, Garwar just put the GIF.
I saw
in there. Yeah, thank you. Over here.
I do like that Rough Rider got up for my defense and said at least I got the lip sync TikTok. So see, I'm not completely out of loop.
Listen, there is so much happening all over the internet. Right? I never am surprised or upset or flummoxed whenever somebody doesn't get an internet reference, because holy cow, there are whole sections of the internet.
Oh God, yeah.
That every once in a while, like, news comes out of, and I'm like, wait, that's a thing?
Yeah.
I never go there. So yeah, it is.
Yep.
That's just the way the internet is. You learn something new every day.
That's a mood. That is absolutely a mood.
Getting in between your wings is very annoying.
Yeah, the wings are definitely take smaller motions with your brush for sure. So it's more controlled.
Yeah. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised, but here I am, surprised.
Que sorpresa. I just like how that warms up that scarlet red a little bit more. And you'll see it makes even more sense as we start doing a little bit more work with the fire addition that we're going to add in a little bit.
Yeah.
Should be fun. But because we had the white that was dry brushed on earlier, it kept this side of the scarf lighter so that these colors pop out a little bit more. To get us ready for some object source, some light object source lighting.
Some light lighting.
Some light lighting, so not heavy-handed.
Yeah.
That way.
Rough Rider also wants to know if you two paint a Tiamat, does
Dear.
Lauren have an appropriate size base to mount it on? No, I do not. But if we were to ever do that giant Tiamat, I feel like that's a big enough thing that even if doing it in pieces, I don't need to mount it on one of my pill bottles.
No, that's honestly like you work one side, let it dry, and work the other side, let it dry type of approach.
Yeah, give me a head. Give me the left wing. There you go.
Yeah. Although the thing is if I'm not mistaken, I think she only comes in 4 pieces. So it's not like you get itty bitty pieces of her. It's not like almost like a sprue setup.
So like just the 4 other heads that are not the red head?
It's like well, no, that's all part of the body base, I believe. Yeah, I think they have it set up just like the pre-painted. Again, this is my brain going back a couple years when it was in development. Yeah, I think it was the same form. It was just like you would paint the wings, you'd paint the tail, you paint the body with the heads attached. So the tail and the wings would be separate. Yeah.
I had always just assumed that the heads would be removable for painting purposes, but that's just an assumption on my part.
They are on there if I'm not mistaken. But still, also, it would be very interesting to paint.
Oh yeah. I still think if money and time were not objects, I would have totally bought that mini, and that would be what Luke and I would do for like 2023. We are painting a Tiamat in chunks, just a little bit every single week. Also, thank you, Anna Canoe, for the subscription and for the very nice. I absolutely love this channel and all of your hosts are great. Well, thank you. Happy Friday to you. Enjoy your emotes. We appreciate you. Also, we have a cat.
He's looking like, can I sit and chill out? I'm like, no, I'm painting. Go away. And now he's doing his leaning. This is a Maine Coon. So when the Maine Coons start to lean, you start to lean too. Sir.
Hey, big cats.
Sir. Okay, so we have that going. Now we want to go back over to Orange Fire. No, Hemi. You can sit by me, but you cannot sit in my lap. And we're going to do just a very light focus of this Orange Fire. Sort of like how we did the OSL trick in the early shadow layers. So we're going to use that hand as a source reference and just pull this Orange Fire about where it would be hitting on the scarf. So I'll show you in just a second.
Okay.
And I'm not bothering to thin that out because with dry brushing, there's really no need to thin out your paints because you're essentially removing the paint. As it is. No, buddy. This is not a good time. Go bye-bye.
Sorry, kitty.
Slinky cat. Sorry.
Sorry, kitty.
We'll cuddle later, okay? Don't give me that look. Don't look at me that way, sir.
Nope, too late.
Guilt trip.
Paint and slay and be stared at by cats.
Yeah, we're the ones painting. They're the ones who are slaying. Making me feel bad. Okay, so we know that there's going to be a fireball in her fist here. So what I'm going to do is take my brush and basically pull across the form as if I'm pulling from where the fire source is going to come. And just let it dance across Orkira, even a little bit here on her face. So you get that warm orange glow. But it helps to be very light-handed with this and have barely any paint, honestly, left on the brush.
Okay.
Just to add this lightened glow. Just a slight touch of it.
Yeah.
You don't have to go ham with it.
I might have gone a little ham with it on her face, but that's okay.
That's okay.
That's all right.
So you see there's this little bit of brighter orange happening on this side where that fire is going to be, and not so much on this side where the fire isn't. So you get this gradient transition of this glow happening.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that was the whole purpose of going back in with cobalt scales and then focusing this orange fire on the one side of the body.
Also, no, I don't want orange fire on the shield. Why is today the day that
That's why I'm leaving the shield for after this technique, so that way we can focus on the shield afterwards.
Okay, that's good, because apparently today is the day where I'm just painting the shield no matter what we do.
There you go.
So,
well, we will actually
glad
be
we're doing
painting
it
the
last.
shield, so hey, that's cool.
Hey.
Okay, so then that should be enough. I'm not going to go too much. Like we'll probably go back and maybe do a little bit towards the end once we actually get the fireball in hand, for a clearer reference point. But I wanted to make sure I was getting that onto the scarf so it shows up nicely. Now we're going to work on the bracers and the shin wraps, shin guards,
Pantaloons.
pantaloons.
I mean, I guess
Something
on
like
this
that?
mini, it's more armor.
Yeah.
Than
Yeah. But we're still going to have it so it looks similar to what we have going on in your wonderful Ancient Orkira art. Actually, let's do the buckle. Let's do the belt and buckle first, because that's a quick and easy one. I just realized that we haven't done that yet. So we want leather brown for the buckle, or the belt rather, and then you want polished gold for the buckle.
And polished gold. There we go. Polished gold.
Where did my polished gold go? There it is. All right, so just a little bit of that leather brown. Again, thin it out if it's coming out thick, and you can apply that with a detail brush.
The tiniest of detail brushes.
Just the tiniest, just so you can kind of control the application of that. I'll make it a little bit easier.
Bishop McHugh96 says, I remember the dozens of tiny pieces on WH Demon Lord sprues. 4 pieces would be so much easier. True, but you have to remember for like when we're talking about Tiamat, we're talking about like
Tiamat's massive. Watch Idle Insights
piece.
from yesterday. I actually showed you what that Tiamat miniature maxature is in terms of scale, at least to me.
Yeah, but like I totally get the whole the fewer the pieces, especially for people like me who are still learning how to do some of that assembly cleanly. You know, I totally get that. All right, belt. Here we go.
There we go. And this gives a nice little delineation between the pants and the scarf and the wrap.
Yeah, I mean, you need to be able to cinch that wrap around some way.
Yep, exactly.
When Luke and I were talking about the original, the non-ancient version design of all of this, there was definitely a lot of, well, what can it really do? What can it really look like? How would this actually work? Because even though she's a fantasy character and it's all magic and stuff, it's kind of fun to think about those things. Like, well, but if she wrapped it around this way, then wouldn't it work like this? And then wouldn't her shield be in the way of this belt?
Got a little where I didn't want it to be on the legs, so I'm going to do a quick cleanup. Perfect.
Caliph Marin has a question about dry brushing. How can you tell when enough is enough? I did some on my mimic chest last week, but I'm not sure if I did it right. Oh, I mean, this is a good question.
Yeah, dry brush is one of those things where it's a technique that you learn with time. And the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. But honestly, you can tell dry brush has shifted from dry brush to overbrushing when you notice the color you are dry brushing with far more than the color that lives underneath. Like when you look at this, you can still see some of the red peeking through underneath all the higher details that are happening here. If this started to look like all just orange without the subtleties of the darker reds and the shade tones, that means you've overdone it. So honestly, the less you have on your brush, the better, especially when you're first learning how to dry brush, because it's easier to add a little bit more than it is to take away. That is for sure. But you basically want to aim for, okay, yes, you will see the color itself, but you'll still see the subtleties and the undertones that are happening within the miniature itself. So you don't want to lose the darker reds, the deeper grays that are the shadows and the deepest recessed parts of this layering that we did with the tissue. So that's how you can kind of tell when dry brushing has turned from dry brushing into overbrushing. Hopefully that helps.
Right, and that is definitely a thing I am constantly learning myself. I mean, I've talked many times about how there's a point in where I go, oh, if I keep going, I'm no longer dry brushing, I'm just painting.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And learning when that time has happened has been an ongoing process.
Yeah, and it comes, it's one of those things. The more you do it, the more you get a feel for how the paint works and where you kind of figure it out.
But yeah, definitely taking the I can always add more, but it's really hard to take away.
To take it away.
That helps a lot with gauging everything, because on a regular basis, I'll think, oh, I've just not done enough, or I don't know if this is going to come out, but I don't want to do any more. And then it dries and then it looks great.
Yeah.
And then there's been other times and when I'm like, okay, I'm going to stop here because I think I've reached an end point and I've done enough. And then it dries and I go, you know what? I'm going to do a little bit more.
Yep, exactly. Okay, so I just took care of the belt. And now what I'm going to do, since the belt's all settled and done, we're going to go back to that leather brown that you hopefully still have some left. And we're going to paint again, make sure it's thinned out. We're going to paint the brachiers on the wrist and the stuff happening here on the shins with leather brown, thinned out. Actually, I'm going to just touch more water on my end. Loop.
So what are we grabbing on the wrist?
So you see how there are these bits on the wrist here?
Yeah.
That's going to get painted leather brown.
The whole thing?
The whole thing.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I don't know why I thought that was the color we were keeping it as. But that is okay.
And again, you just want to make sure it's a nice thin layer. And you'll see that area where we put a whole bunch of the white helps that color stay nice and bright rather than going more of a dull tone.
There we go. Okay. Well, at least now it'll be a little bit easier to cover up that chunk of red that I whoopsied.
Yeah, it's okay. You can always go back and touch up if you notice something kind of popped out unexpectedly on you. Couple of interesting angles, but we'll get it.
Yep.
We'll get it.
And we're just getting the armor pieces, not the cloth-ish stuff underneath?
All of it. Well, what do you mean stuff cloth-ish underneath?
So like
on
up
the
towards
shins?
her up towards above her elbow, but almost to
I painted
her
that scarlet
armpit.
red. I did that part scarlet red. Yeah.
Okay. So then I will go back and paint that scarlet red too, because I left that as gray. But that makes sense.
Okay, and then this is going to be the fun part. The other arm has some of this showing, but you also have some of the shield going on.
Yeah.
So there is a little bit right here that we'll want to get. And a little bit between the straps. I think I'll leave it at that for that arm. And I'm going to move to the shins.
Yeah, it's one of those things like, who is going to be looking in this spot on this mini? Right. And then the gremlin in the back of my head says me. So
I'll know.
And then I will be upset.
Yeah. But we know it's there. And again, it's all dependent upon your intentions for your minis as well. If this is something where you're painting it for a competition, yeah, they tend to look at more of the nooks and crannies. If this is something where it's just for your table and enjoyment and fun, keep that 3-foot rule in mind. Again, that is where you hold your mini away 3 feet. Does it look good? It's good to play.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
really what it comes down to. As one of my YouTubers that I like to watch, James Welsh, there's no such thing as perfection.
Oh, no, 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 no. I mean, there's the corollary to that, especially as an artistic person in any way, shape, or form, whether it is physical art or music or whatever. It's never done.
Right.
You've just reached a point in where you're either satisfied with it or you know you can't do anymore.
Right.
And hopefully it's the former and not the latter.
Mm-hmm. But it's
And
definitely
as you
important to say, because I think a lot of people get caught off, but what if I can't make it look perfect? Well, you won't. That's just it.
Yep.
You won't. There's no such thing as perfection. You make it, as you see fit and as you have knowledge of how to approach it in painting styles. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
Do.
Yeah, that was one of the hardest things to learn as a professional musician anyway, when doing recordings for people,
Mm-hmm.
because it can be very hard to let go of a recording.
Mm.
Because if I'm just doing it here in my home studio, I've got everything set up, I can just keep recording over and over and
Right.
over and over again. Like, it is hard for me. It has been a process for me to learn about that stopping point of, like, not good enough, but like, this is good, and anything at this point that I'm still hearing no one else
Mm-hmm.
is,
Mm-hmm.
or this is good and this is what I need, and I need to stop because I'm just going to continue to bang
Right.
my head against a wall.
Yeah.
Figuring out when that point is uh versus, oh no, I can still do more and fix this. Because
Yeah.
sometimes that is
It's
that
a
is
thing.
true.
Yeah.
But when it comes to stuff like this, which is not my job, I mean, I guess it's technically my job because here we are on stream, but like,
I
I'm
mean,
not making
yeah.
this for a competition or to sell. It is just for funsies and to learn how to paint.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay if it's not
Yes.
perfect.
Exactly. All right. So once you get that painted on, we're then going to go back to the orange fire, and we're going to do some dry brushing of the orange fire onto this area.
There we go. I thought
Or
I
just put the leather brown. Oh, and my paintbrush is coming apart. Joy.
No.
No. So no's.
So I just got some brown on the tail.
Uh-ohs.
So at least, it's okay. I should be able to get it off real quick.
Yeah. I'm going to start on the one that I started with because that's had a little bit of time to kind of dry. And just gently go in with this orange fire. And there you go. Bob's your uncle.
Okay. There we go. And then I still have plenty of orange fire left.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I tried to make it just like a tiny little bit, but
Yeah, even the tiniest little bit wasn't going to get fully used up. So I think when I was plotting the paint colors, I'm like, yes, let's do this so that we can have some synchronicity.
yeah.
The color will still get used.
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
All right. Arm under shield. I got this. We got this.
Right? See, it just brightens it up a little bit.
Also, it helps those buttons stand out a little bit more on the
Side
bracers on the
bits.
bottom.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, I should look up. Oh, thank you,
Hmm?
Belswin, for gifting subs.
Woohoo.
Hope whoever got that enjoys your. Oh, Mr. Wolf, enjoy your emotes. Yeah.
Okay. And then just a little bit on the back here.
Give me just a second. I
Sure.
have things to chat about.
Oh. Oh. We have things
That's
to
okay.
chat
That's
about.
okay.
Excellent. All right, so once we get that orange fire dry brushed on, we're going to go back to the polished gold. Right? Or no, sorry.
Yep,
we're going to go back with, we're going to go to gold yellow. Take it back. We're going to grab gold yellow, and we're just going to have fun and edge the side portions here. So I'll show you what I mean in just a second.
all right.
With
Yeah,
a little detail brush.
I've got to finish up these legs. There we go.
Okay.
All right. What'd you say? Which gold again?
Orange. No, hold on. Gold yellow.
Gold yellow. Okay.
Yes. I'm going to go in for some gold yellow.
Gold yellow.
And then just have some fun. And I'm going to run a little bead along the edges here.
Ah, okay.
Just to pop that out a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm actually using sort of the side of the brush to guide it. Not so much the tip of the brush.
Sorry, once again.
The chatting is happening.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to work while you're working and then do other work while you're working. That's what's happening right now.
Work. I got it. These little clasps that happen here on the braziers, and I'm also going to put that on.
Caliph Marin was asking about conventions. Is it too early to ask? Apologize if it is. I don't think it's too early to ask. At this moment, I think the only one that I'm planning on going to is PAX Unplugged at the end of the year. I might pop in a little bit on PAX West, but that's my local convention.
Right.
And that is relatively easy for me to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I don't have any specific plans that I can talk about, and nothing that I know that C&E is doing in general. But, if that changes, we will absolutely put out an announcement.
There you go.
On the socials.
So I'm just going to hit where I can. You can see the difference that it makes just by adding that little bit of gold yellow.
Oh, yeah. Just highlighting those parts of the bracer.
Yep.
Which is definitely real cool.
Yeah.
It's a neat detail on this mini too. Like
it is.
That's
why I wanted to make sure that had its moment.
Moment in the fire.
Yes. Moment to shine.
Also, I like Jason Nolte, who is talking about me doing work while I'm doing work while other work is going on, who says, she's a trained professional. Please don't try this working while working at home.
Yep.
Multitasking.
Well, it's funny. My kiddo stayed home for Take Your Kid to Work Day in the States. Which, yes, I work from home. My kid basically stayed home to watch me work. But was watching me and basically was floored at how many devices I had going at the same time for various communications involved with what I do on a daily basis.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet you've got way more than I have going on at any. And we probably have very different programs running at the same time. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you have to do a lot more communication stuff.
Yeah.
I am doing a lot more waiting for my computer to finish processing something.
Mm-hmm.
I've become very good at figuring out what else can I be working on while my computer has to hardcore think
Has to
about a
chug.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh God, I remember that from doing the YouTube videos. I'm like, well,
Mm,
there we go.
funk. I don't think. Are we doing something specific with the buttons, or is
I'm putting
this?
a little bit of that gold yellow onto the straps, buttons, bits.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing the same thing, but
Yeah.
I didn't want to jump.
Oh no, it helps them pop out
Yeah,
on those parts of this.
and those buttons are very, very much in line with her art.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Exactly.
oh, I'm gonna need more of that. I actually did not put enough down. Ah,
Oh dear. Oh dear.
I've been trying to be real good about that. Oh, I only need to dry brush, so I only need to do a little bit of this paint. Well, I
Mm-hmm.
guess I'm doing way more now.
Yeah, it happens.
Rough Rider wants to know if uh it's basically asking about your wonderful children and whether they also enjoy mini painting and if they're doing any mini painting today.
Not today, but they have painted in the past, yeah.
Yeah, fun mini painting for the family.
Mm-hmm.
Poke, 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 poke. Once again, one of the reasons that if money and time weren't a factor, I'd get that Tiamat because,
Uh-huh. Group activity
family
for sure.
time.
Yep.
Family time. I was in
Okay.
Mox the other day,
Mm-hmm.
or actually at this point, a couple weeks ago, which is my friendly local game store. And they had the Tarrasque, the
Ooh.
unpainted Tarrasque, which
Mm-hmm.
honestly, I had totally forgotten about in the unpainted Tiamat discussions that, oh yeah, there's
That's
also a
there too.
Tarrasque you can get.
Yep.
And it was not as expensive as I thought it was
Well,
going
that's
to
good.
be.
Mm-hmm.
And I stood there for a very long moment, and then I convinced myself to walk away. And the reason I was able to convince myself to walk away
Uh-huh.
uh, was I went, if I'm going to spend that much money on a very large mini,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to save up for Tiamat because Tiamat is a variety of colors.
True.
Tiamat is super colorful and is fun to
Yes.
look at. The
Absolutely.
Tarrasque, awesome, not as much.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that was my reasoning.
There you go. That's good reasoning, though. Okay, so
Right.
once you get that done, we're going to move back over to grabbing cobalt scales and black. And we're just going to create a darker tone with cobalt scales. So start off with more cobalt scales and add black to it.
Okay.
And then we're going to add it all over the shield.
Okay.
But make sure it's thinned out. Okay.
So cobalt scales and a little bit of water.
Cobalt scales, a touch of black.
And
Just a
Chaos
touch.
AD says, I have an unpainted Tarrasque still unassembled that I printed.
Ooh.
How long did it take you to print?
God, that had to take a good amount of time.
I mean, even if it's a mini of a Tarrasque, because I'm talking about the maxi, the Tarrasque. Yeah. But even a mini of a Tarrasque is going to take a chunk of time. How long did that take to print? 10 hours. Damn. That's cool. Oh, wow. That was not nearly enough cobalt scales. Okay.
Yep.
The black was just like, this is my color now.
I am here. Yep, that's exactly what just happened to me, too.
Mm.
So, where did I put it? There it is. Should have brought a little dab over, and I didn't do that. I was just like, I'll just put a drop of black in. Whee! Wait.
Yep.
Whoopsie. These things do happen.
Chaos AD says, I modeled Tiamat, but not going to print her until I get a much larger printer. I mean, that's fair.
That totally makes sense.
And also, like, painting minis is super fun.
Mhm.
But definitely, if you're enjoying 3D printing minis and doing some custom stuff that way, you don't necessarily have to also paint the minis. Like, I have a very, very good friend who has a 3D printer who's been enjoying making custom pieces for stuff. And some of the coolest stuff that he did was terrain or like buildings and things.
Right.
Now, granted, there's not quite as much variety when it comes to like stonework and buildings and things, but like just leaving them unpainted and just being focused on, getting a really nice print and getting it set up in just the way that he wanted was really, really cool. Because that's the hardest part about having, at least in my mind, physical landscapes is like, oh, but I want the wall to go this way.
Right. Yeah, modular terrain is a tricky thing to be able to perfect.
Yeah. Okay. And you said all over the shield?
All over the shield as a thin coat. So this is the color I ended up with, and I thinned it out so you can see it still shows off the texture of my skin on a test. So that's going to everywhere on the shield, including the straps.
Okay.
That go around. I'm actually doing the back of it first before I do the front of it, just because the back is a little more tricky to get because angles, yo.
Yeah, it's like she's holding the shield appropriately to actually protect herself, which makes the painting difficult, but makes the mini look, really realistic, I guess.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's actually a thing, huh?
We can respect it.
Shields for defense?
Yeah. Even if it's going to make the painting a little more difficult, but that's okay. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, and really the trick is, again, just make sure this is nice and thinned out, because what you don't want it to do is completely obliterate that work we did with the shadow layering.
Yeah, all that good white and gray.
Yeah. See how it's still playing through?
Yeah.
That's what you want. We're basically tinting it at this point.
Okay. Are we also getting these? I don't know why I'm leaning in that direction. Are we also getting the straps on the shield?
Yep. Okay. Yep.
That's probably going to require a smaller brush then.
All right. I like how Hemingway is tracking my paintbrush rinsing.
Like, that's a toy. That's a toy. That's a toy.
He's like, you're playing with it in the water. How come I can't play with it when you tap it dry? No, look at him. See, he's like, ooh, the paintbrush. I want that. I want that.
I love how it's a gentle swat too.
It's just like he's so gentle. He's my gentle giant. He really is a good boy.
It's like we're playing, but I kind of know I'm not supposed to be doing this, so I'm just gonna be like, ah.
That is exactly it.
Natty by Nature asked, what is the putty that you're using for the bottom of the minis to stay in place?
It's essentially, poster tack, blue tack. This is a specific tack that Red Grass Games sent me to use with their device. This is a full throttle handle with like an ergonomic thing you can attach to the bottom, but I don't have it on right now because every single time I try and use it here and my camera has to be a lower setting, it sticks to the arm right here. And then you get this fun little boing issue with the camera, so I don't put the whole thing together. But yeah, it's just basically like the sticky tack stuff that people use to hang up posters on walls without, damage.
Yep.
It's very simple, straightforward.
And I've got one of those, I think it's a cup that you're supposed to use for water, but in the paint night kits, there's the little plastic cup that seals. I just keep all of mine in that. I will also just keep it inside of the oh, here's one. Inside of the actual pill bottle cases.
Cool.
Because you just need to keep it in between using stuff the fairly dry. You don't want it to dry out, but
No.
it's pretty. It can stand, hanging out
Yeah.
for a couple of weeks. It's pretty durable.
Totally
It's
can.
super cheap.
Yes. Okay, so now we're gonna have some fun and kind of nod to that fireball, magma ball that Orkira gets in game with her ancient skin.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take the Thry-Kreen. I can never say this one. The Thry-Kreen Chitin. We're gonna dry brush that into the front here. If you go onto the lattice work a little bit, that'll be okay. But we're aiming for those interior bits. So I'll show you in just a second what I mean. And if need be, you can move to like a round number 1 brush to kind of dry brush it with a round brush for a little bit more control. If that's easier for you.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens because this is going to be an interesting challenge of dry brushing inside of a place that already has raised, that's already raised. Although my shield is still wet, so I might.
Oh, if it's still wet, now that I'm looking at this, I forgot. This is more. Take it back. Do some orange fire instead, because that Thry-Kreen is creamier than I remember it being.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go back to orange fire for this one.
So give my shield a couple more seconds of a chance to dry. Yeah, minimal air. Also, Bellswin, I saw it said blue tack. Blue tack also works great. Yeah, as long as it's not one of those sticky tack stuff that is supposed to dry and then be unremovable.
Yeah, you don't want putty.
Yeah, you want the stuff that advertises as you can hang a poster on your wall and then remove it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Great for class. They always say great for classrooms. Without fail.
Yep.
So, all right. Just a little touch of that in those sections. Just wanted to give this sort of like a little bit of a glowing effect.
And this is inside all the triangles.
Yeah.
And
basically
rhombuses.
Inside the lattice. Yeah, inside the lattice work area.
Okay.
It's actually kind of thinking of the spell heat metal.
Ooh.
Like what would that look like? And it's like, well, let's see what that could look like.
Heat metal is such a fun spell.
And it comes in handy sometimes. Can be real sneaky about it.
I have seen some incredibly clever uses of heat metal. Some very, very deviously clever uses of like, oh yeah, that is metal. Oh yeah, that is not coming off easily, is that? Okay.
Nope. I always love it when I have a druid and they're talking about the big baddie and they're talking about their half plate metal armor. It's like, really? Don't say.
Hey.
Well, guess what she's doing now, folks?
I happen to know it takes a while to take off that kind of armor.
It's like 10 to 15 minutes, right?
Yeah, it depends on if you have help or not.
Yeah.
But it's at least 10 minutes in order to remove any medium to heavy armor, which is one of the reasons that it's also one of the reasons that you're not supposed to sleep in medium to heavy armor, because you just can't. You can't sleep. Yeah. You can't get a long rest. So you're supposed to take it off.
Yep.
Which means if you're woken up in the middle of the night, you are probably not wearing your armor.
Yep. It's a thing. Okay, so once you do that, then we'll go to the Terras Carapace. And we will do another round of like lighter dry brushing over the same sections.
The interiors of the shield or the whole thing?
The interiors of the shield. just like where we were
Icky.
before, but kind of just adding a slight more of a highlight tone to it.
Belzman wants to know between the Orkira Bash, Kit Bash, episode 1 and 2, how long should you give the scarf time to dry if you're painting back to back? Ooh,
Oh,
that's a
at
good question.
least 24 hours for that scarf to cure. You want to make sure that's dry. You don't want to go in with wet paint on a wet scarf because it's going to load it down and affect how it hangs. I mean, I purposely had it set up so we had a good week between to be safe, to give everything a chance to cure.
Yeah.
That's
'cause
not a
especially-
step you can rush. You really shouldn't rush that step.
Well, and especially with the scarf being made out of
Tissues.
toilet paper.
Yeah.
Tissues, yeah. Which I have to imagine is going to soak up some more of the paint and then is also
It
just
will.
going to take
And
longer
it
to dry.
degrades. If it gets too wet, it starts to degrade.
Mm.
So you do need to be careful with that section.
So yeah, if you are going to join us but do a back-to-back, then definitely budget in some time to let that scarf
Yeah.
dry.
Exactly. Okay, I'm having fun with this. I'm liking the way this is looking.
Poke, poke, poke,
Look
poke.
at that. Got a nice little glow happening, feeling there.
Yeah.
Sir. Sir. Excuse me, sir.
What's going
Oh,
on?
Hemi's he's enjoying the hanging out and playing with brushes. Let's put it that way. And I think I'm going to leave it. I'm debating if I want to go in with a little bit of the gold yellow. I could. We could.
What you thinking of doing?
No, I'm thinking I'm gonna pass it up. I'm not gonna do the gold yellow. I was like, do we go in with gold yellow or do we not? So I'm gonna leave the gold yellow alone and go to the hammered copper, and we're gonna use hammered copper basically on this cross piece area and around the rest of the shield. So basically giving the shield its metallic form with hammered copper.
Hammered copper, there you are.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Nolte says, I guarantee any armor used for military purposes for any length of historic time has definitely been slept in. Oh yeah, I mean, once you start talking about reality versus
Right.
I'm sure, absolutely. But at least as far as the rules of Dungeons and Dragons
Raw.
go, raw rules.
Raw.
You cannot get a long rest if you are currently wearing medium to, I think even light, but definitely medium to heavy armor. You will not get the full benefits of a long rest. But you know what? That's half the fun. Because otherwise, you just end up, traipsing around in your bathrobe at night, which is funny.
Now that's an image.
I mean, that was Orkira for a whole half a season. Was just running around in her bathrobe because we got woken up in the middle of the night and she was in her nightgown and her bathrobe, and then we ended up in places and where she had no access to her armor, and well, guess what?
Oh gosh, too funny.
Yeah.
Too funny.
And to be honest,
expect the unexpected, huh?
Right? To be honest, I was not even really that concerned mechanically of like, oh God, her AC is so low. Like, her AC was never amazing to begin with. But it was definitely a shift to think about suddenly not having your armor and what you should and shouldn't do if you are a character. And that has continued literally up until this most recent incarnation of, okay, she's just not wearing the heavy armor anymore. What does that look like? What is she doing?
Right.
And it's fun to think about those new
that's
physical
cool.
Yeah. And then of course you can say that the nightgown that you're wearing looks exactly like what Arthur Dent is wearing in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy in the BBC TV version. Because, I have very, very clear ideas of what her nightgown should be. So yeah,
Awesome. I
I have
like it.
art of that somewhere. Luke drew that art somewhere, and it
Oh.
makes me happy every time, even though she is miserable.
This is where I live now.
Yeah, yep. Well, and it wasn't even like I'm not in my armor, and it wasn't even I'm in my bathrobe, but it was I'm in my nightgown and I don't have pants, and this is the
Mm-hmm.
worst. I'm a flying
Mm-hmm.
creature and I don't have pants.
Oh, yep. Ooh, didn't
That's what
do
I'm
that
saying
part.
about, yeah. The sometimes the best things about D&D are the really random things you end up thinking about during a game.
Uh-huh.
Rough Rider 1995. Does Orkira's nightgown have a slot for her tail, or does it just poke out the bottom? The one that I've been specifically talking about, it's just one of those long nightgowns. So she had cut slits in it for the wings, but the tail just poked out the bottom. She has recently graduated up to uh night pants. Her nightwear now includes pants. So
Okay.
because once again, sometimes you have to think about. I enjoy
Uh-huh.
the silly things you got to think about. Plumomp says sleeping in boots for days was one of the most uncomfortable experiences. Oof, yeah, I can't imagine. Oof. Caleb Marin says my party and I got ambushed a few times at night as well, and since my nature druid does not wear really any type of armor, it was a doozy. Yeah, that being caught at night, that's a challenge for a lot of people, for a lot of
Mm-hmm.
parties.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I usually play a lot of games with people who do watches. Like, how do we get around those? Oh, that's right, we have watches.
Yeah, but then watches fail.
Yeah, yep. But the majority of times they have come in handy, and we haven't had big issues. Like there was once where our was it the wizard wasn't able to get armor on, like mage armor up type of
Yeah.
situation right away. So, but this is basically what the shield's gonna end up looking like.
I'm literally just putting the last stroke on.
There you go.
There we go.
And
It's
then
now all shiny, and so it's not getting shown off real well
mhm.
on my camera. But yeah.
So now we're gonna have some fun, and we're gonna go to glorious gold.
I love how every time you say now we're gonna have some fun. Like we haven't been having a blast
Well,
for
more
an hour
fun.
and
We're
a
gonna be
half.
having more fun. We're gonna take the glorious gold. That's polish. Where's gold? Glorious gold. It's
Glorious
the really light
gold.
gold color from the prismatic paint sets, and we're gonna dry brush that across the whole front of this, just to give it a really neat glowy look. But definitely make sure you shake these because these like to separate big time.
Yeah, I noticed that with the metallics in general, but definitely the gold and the silver. The silver is the other one that.
Silver is also another one that likes to go, look at me, divide and conquer.
Yep, yep. Why is my silver just
Oh
just nothing? Wait a second. Why is my silver everything?
There it goes.
Also, I may need to once again give my shield a chance to dry.
That's fair. I'm still shaking because I realized I was shaking. I put the paint down and I grabbed the wrong paint between putting it down and picking it up again.
It happens.
It
Happens.
It do.
I will say as well, I wait for my shield to dry, and V waits for the correct
The right
paint
paint?
to want to work with her, because we are halfway through the shows. Welcome to
goodness.
everybody who's come in from the game. I hope you're having fun with the weekend buffs and everything going on. I hope you're able to take a moment and check out check out the blog for Nixie and the video for Nixie, because you know, their next character coming on in.
Nixie.
And if you do have any questions, just go ahead and put those in chat with question big letters. With capital letters. Words. With capital letters. Big letters. The big letters.
Use big letters.
Use your big letters.
That was amazing.
You know,
Use those
sometimes it's the end of the week and I've run out of syllables.
Fully understand. Yep.
I no longer have words.
There we go.
And so you're just getting big words.
And I'm only putting this on the front of the shield. So
Okay.
get this really cool glinting glow happening now. Fun.
Yeah.
Ta-da.
It's shiny.
Yeah. 'Twas the hope. Yeah, I'm happy with how that looks. Hooray! Okay, so that takes care of our shield. Ta-da!
And yes, Natty by Nature asks, are these paints being used on this mini from the prismatic paint set? Yes, we have been using the prismatic paints because they're fun.
They are fun.
But the vast majority of this, you can still just mix up from the basic paint set that we have listed in the Discord, discord.gg/idlechampions. I will drink.
Drink! You drink, I'll stretch.
Mm-hmm. Also, yes, I did pull out my Phoenix mug for...
I love it.
Because why not? Why not go all in as we are finishing up Orkira? But
Okay,
yes,
so
these
now...
are the prismatic paints, which I'd grab, except they're far, far away.
Here.
There we go. Point down there. There we go.
Okay, so I've been talking about how there's going to be this fun little flame effect happening in here.
Yeah.
We're going to do that with a cotton swab, also known as a Q-tip, and some super glue. So I've kind of already primed one side of the bud by just pulling at the cotton very carefully. And you might notice you get like lumps to start with. That's okay. Use those lumps to just pull away. And then I'm just going to work to pull a clump of this off. So I get this lovely bit of wispiness. Okay. And then what we're going to do is get your super glue.
Here's my super glue, which I have tested out ahead of time.
Oh, good. And I'm going to put a drop of super glue onto the cotton swab at the base, not at the floofy part, but at the base. And take that and carefully place this onto the hand. And then I cheat. I'll use like a back of a fingernail. You can use like tweezers and that type of thing just to get it kind of placed where you want. You can even use the back of a paintbrush, or where are my tweezers? They're my tweezers. So see, I have like tweezers like this. And basically just use that to sort of press it down into the hand. And this is going to be a back and forth process while that kind of takes hold. Yeah.
Well, that bit of fluff is just stuck to my finger forever now.
Nail polish remover.
Yep.
Nail polish remover. Okay, so with that on there, I'm going to add a little bit more super glue and just kind of run it along the tuft. And basically what happens is as this dries, it hardens up the tuft, but it still kind of keeps this puffy looking effect going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So probably before I do that, I also want to adjust the tuft in the way that I want it to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. You definitely want to let that dry before we do any other work on that. So I'm going to leave that. I think that's pretty well saturated.
Okay, super glue. Let's have fun.
Yeah, so we want that to dry. So while we're letting that dry, we're going to do some base work. Yeah, it's basically a cotton bud, the bit of a cotton bud, or a Q-tip. The things you stick in your ears that you shouldn't stick in your ears.
That we all do anyway.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So you would basically go towards a fresh side of a cotton bud and start pulling, and you'll get like this clump at the top like that. Pull that clump off and you start getting this nice tapered effect, and you pull again, and that gives you a little ta-da, little tuft you can work with.
All right,
brush and have to
painting it.
use natural fiber of the so the super glue doesn't melt it. Yeah, some things you have to be careful with what you apply with super glue because super glue likes to make things go bye-bye. Yeah, cotton works nicely with super glue without degrading and melting away. Other things not as much, which is why cotton's always my go-to for that one. Polyester can melt sometimes with various adhesive options. Same thing with foam. Some foam can get very interesting quickly depending on what you're using as a glue. So yeah, you got to be careful sometimes with different things. Oh, are you coming back? Hello. Perfect. You left right during the super glue time. That was perfect timing. Good job, Hemi.
All right, I'm happy with how my tuft looks. It's all nice and fiery.
Nice.
It's a little bigger than I think I was anticipating, but I like it.
I mean,
Painting this
fireball
is gonna be interesting.
It's gonna be fun, but we want to make sure that's definitely dry. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to this base now.
Okay.
And we're gonna take orange fire, scarlet red, and gold yellow. And we're gonna have fun kind of painting it in various splotches onto the base, making sure we're really working it into the grooves. No, sir. Those are not toys. I know I've been taunting you with them. That's my own fault, right?
You said orange fire,
scarlet red, and gold yellow.
And gold yellow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But not to mix, specifically
not to mix. To splotch next to each other. Which I know sounds so professional.
All right.
So I'll start with scarlet red and kind of show you what I mean. So I'm going to go in with this scarlet red, and I'm just going to randomly kind of just apply it like so.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I'm going to be careful around the tootsies.
Always be careful around the tootsies.
Mm-hmm. Tootsie footsies.
I'm very curious about what is about to happen here, but I'm excited.
We're going to kind of give this a cracked lava look to the stone base.
Okay.
Like, Orkira is so powerful that literally the ground cracks and gets ready to be inflamed.
Yes, I am. No, not really, but that's okay.
All right, so I just did random splotches like that around the base. Now I'm going to move to orange fire and do the same thing.
And is the goal to completely cover the base in these three colors?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. They will feed into each other. And there's really no right or wrong ratio for this. In the long run. The goal is just to get the base covered like that with those three colors. And you can even have it so it blends over a little bit, one onto the other. That's cool too.
That's cool. So I'd started with the orange and then went to the red, and now realizing that maybe I didn't do quite enough orange before we get to the yellow, I'm going to have to go back and make my oranges a bit bigger. Just slightly.
Totally cool. It'll pull together. You'll be surprised.
Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah, it's a fun thing to do.
Okay, there we go. Now there's a slightly more even distribution of those two colors. And now I think I can do the gold yellow.
Yep.
Yeah, Sweden, fire does get out of hand very, very quickly. Yeah.
Fire
Orkira is usually pretty good about not going overboard with fireballs, or at least being careful about when she casts them, because unlike like wizards and other classes that can sculpt and do
Control a little
things
bit,
to,
yeah.
yeah, where it lands is just where it lands. So
Yeah.
she can definitely, she definitely keeps an eye on where it lands and how much she uses, but fireball is a go-to.
Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with a good fireball.
Well, I mean, what's wrong is when you then set a lot of things on
Well,
fire. Or yeah,
but I mean,
yeah, or
good as in well
accidentally.
cast.
Yeah, she's very, very, very rarely hit friends, because um, she will just not
Mm-hmm.
cast fireball or any fire or harming spells if there is a decent or even a smaller chance she's going to hit her friends or someone she
Mm-hmm.
doesn't want to hit. Um,
Makes sense.
but she doesn't usually look out for, say, trees or other flammable objects.
Mm.
And so it's like, okay, there are no sentient creatures that I do not want to hit with a fireball
Right.
in this spot. Let's do this. Oh, whoops. Half the forest is on fire. Sorry, Penelope.
Yeah. Oh. Oh.
High wisdom, low intelligence. There you go.
Okay, so it's looking like this. See?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we want to have this dry a little bit. And it should be at this point that we have... Can I touch this safely? Yeah, I can touch it safely. So if you can touch your cotton swab safely and it's not sticking to you, this means you can go in and thin out those colors we just used. So sorry, I just hit my microphone. I bet that was fun to hear. So I'm going to start with the gold yellow and start it towards the base of this tuft. I'm going to thin that out so it's like thin like broth. So it's more tinted than it is paint.
Okay.
So I want this to be extremely watery. Actually, should rinse my brush too. That would help.
So almost wash-like.
Yeah, like that.
Okay.
And I'm going to start this at the base. And just start putting it into that tuft. And if you get a little bit of this on the hand, that's actually okay because it's thinned out and it's going to start looking like a little bit of a glow from the fireball in hand.
Well, that is not thin enough. Okay. Oh, poke, 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 poke.
Mm-hmm. Lots of poke.
Uh-oh.
You okay?
I think I got a little bit of a tuft of super glue on my paintbrush.
Ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh. All right, so I'm going to start with that yellow, then I'm going to move to the orange. Same thing. And pull that sort of a little bit from above the yellow area and up towards the tip of the tuft.
See if this time I can keep this really watery.
Yeah.
So much water. Oh, come on. Don't do this to me. Burk.
Oh. Oh.
Ah.
And I'm going to take a little bit of that scarlet red and add that to the orange fire mix that I just had with the water to kind of brighten the red a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can even add it to the gold yellow if you want, depending on how bright you want the red to go. And I'll get the top. The tip of the tuft.
The tippy top.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, we've apparently reached the
We've reached
quiet
we're
part.
focusing.
Yeah, that's okay
It's
though.
a thing. It absolutely happens.
Okay, and then red.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, thank you, Swayden. They say this is looking really good.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
So you get the fun flame effect in hand now.
Oh God, yours looks real good. All right, okay. I'm halfway there. I'm halfway there.
Yeah, you'll get there. Don't worry. And then once I do that, I'm going to go back to my gold metallic. Which one do I want to do? I'll go to polished gold. And, pardon me, young lady. I'm going to go in with that. And lightly brush this along to kind of give it a sparkly glow. And I actually switched over to one of my more rattier dry brushes for that.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that because this is not a brush that I'm upset about
Uh-oh.
losing.
Was it still damp?
No. It's I definitely got
Oh,
like a
shoot.
chunk of something in the very, very tip. So this is not going to be a brush I can use anymore for
bummer. I'm sorry about
actual paint. Nah, it's okay. Like I said, I did it to myself, but that does mean I don't have to go to a different brush. I can just keep using this one. This has now become my fire brush.
There you go. So yeah, just went in and I added some of that polished gold. And you see it adds a fun little glow to it. For the flame effect. Ha-ha! Fire!
Yeah.
Fire, fire. All right, and now that this is in hand, I'm gonna have fun and go back to just straight up orange fire. And do a little bit more dry brushing, because now that we have this flame effect happening, I can go through and we're gonna add a little bit of tinging of the orange flame to the leg. The orange fire. Just lightly, nothing too major, but enough to start giving it a little bit of a glow. Looks like a little bit here would be caught. Down that center point. Play it up a little bit more here. So we can get some of that OSL happening. Take it down the foot a little bit too. There we go. So you get that little glowing effect now happening.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. You can kind of see it if I do that.
Mm-hmm. All right. So hopefully, yeah, my base is now dry enough. So I'm gonna go back to black.
Back to black. I'm gonna do one small attempt to. I might have to cut that off. Okay. My tuft got a little too long, and so at the very top it doesn't look like flames. It looks like a warmth. So I think I'm just gonna. But it's
you can trim it. Once it's dry, you can definitely
I'm just gonna give it a haircut.
Trim it up. Just a trim.
There we go.
All right.
Okay, we're going back to the base. What are we doing?
We're gonna go back with black.
Okay.
And we're going to dry brush black across the top of this.
Interesting.
So you can, yes, and do this in thin layers and build up. Because what this will start to do is make it look like cracked earth. So like normally you go in to highlight the texture. In this sense, we're actually going to be adding the black in to reverse highlight essentially the higher portions,
Okay.
because you want the lava coming through the cracks essentially. So just going through and building up gradually with black, you'll get this cracked lava-like look to your base.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I'm sure there's probably like specialty paints you can get
Oh yeah,
that
there's other,
do,
yeah.
but just being able to do this.
You can get paints that purposely crack and everything like that, but this just kind of plays around with what you have.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly, like you did for the nightmare. You got it, Belswin. Very similar to what was done with the nightmare.
Sorry, I feel like I have to get into weird positions when I want to see in between Orkira's legs, which is
No, that's
sense
fair.
I just said, but that's the
Mm-hmm.
way.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way mini painting works when you're painting your own PC, is sometimes you have to get in between their legs. Yeah, I do really like how that looks. That's super cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's a little hard to show off, but we're
Yeah.
getting there.
Yep.
Do a little bit darker, especially around some of the places where the two colors meet. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that's where I want to
Yep.
obscure it more.
There you go. Do do do.
Oh,
I'm definitely
Anaku,
keeping the thing.
that is very sweet of you to say. Um, uh, and they're asking about doing Orkira's voice while painting, and I know Sweden brought up the whole vocal warm-ups thing. So yeah, I mean, I can just drop into Orkira on a regular basis. She's just always there. But yeah, if I'm going to do Orkira for any significant length of time, then vocal warm-ups are required because I am for those that know the term, that's vocal fry is what I'm doing,
Mm-hmm.
which is getting that raspy thing down here. And if I do not warm up ahead of time, then I could, first off, my voice can get very hoarse, or I could injure my voice. The good
Mm-hmm.
thing is, it doesn't take much vocal warm up in order to be safe. Also, if I don't warm up, then after like a 2, 3, 4 hour game of playing Orkira, then my voice just hurts so
Yeah.
much. So I try to be a little more cautious about when I drop into her outside of when I have warmed up for that exact reason, because I don't want to hurt myself. But like I said,
Mm-hmm.
fortunately, she is it's like 5 minutes I've gotten it
That's not
down
bad.
to. Yeah, usually I'll go take a shower to get ready for a game, and while I'm in the shower, I
Mm-hmm.
do all my vocal warm-ups, and then I come out, and then I can be Orkira for hours. It's great. As long as I have enough to
Ta-da!
drink.
It's
But
magic.
yes, always take care of your voice, everybody. Just like the
Mm-hmm.
rest of your body. If something hurts, don't do
Don't
it.
do it.
There is chances are whatever you're trying to do, there is a safe way to do exactly what you're doing without the
Mm-hmm.
pain. So that is
Mm-hmm.
my advice for you
This
today.
is very true.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very true. Okay, so now
So,
that we have all of this going, we can start doing some washes.
yay, washes.
Yeah, so I'm gonna keep the umber wash is going to go on
That
the scarf. So we'll use the umber wash on the scarf and on the gray armor areas. And then
okay.
everywhere else we will use the sepia to keep the brighter, warm tones going.
Okay. So umber on the scarf,
Yep.
everywhere else with the sepia. And when we talk about everywhere else, I'm assuming we're not touching
Not the base
fire.
yet. The fire you leave alone. The fire you don't
Yeah.
want to do anything else to. We're done. That
Okay.
tuft has done its thing. So yeah, the sepia wash is going to go on the wings, on the skin, on the yellow orange shin guards, the tail, the scarf, and the pants and the leg armor. that will get the umber wash.
Scarf, pants, and leg armor. All right. Yeah, Caliph Marin talking about chronic pain. That is a whole separate thing that everybody's got to. Yeah, chronic pain sucks. And that's a talk to your doctor, figure out kinds of things. I'm simply talking about from the D&D side, trying to do things like vocally or physically or whatever, fun things that aren't supposed to normally hurt.
Right.
Like doing silly voices. Also, I just realized I got somehow just a little bit of super glue right here.
Oh, jeez.
It's weird. It's a weird feeling.
I'm sure it is. Ooh.
Yeah. I didn't even know it was there until I went to go scratch. I'm like, what is that? What is that? Oh.
Oops.
I know what this is. This is the worst. How did I even get super glue on the front of my arm?
But that nail polish remover is a big help. It has to have acetone in it, though.
Yeah. Yay, washes. Okay, so you said the scarf and the
pants and leg armor and tail armor as well. So basically whatever is red and gray. That's getting umber.
That's getting the umber. Because being on the plane of fire, it's dirty work. It's not roasting marshmallows all the time. Sometimes you gotta, get down and dirty in the obsidian.
There you go.
Sure.
We'll take it. The reason I didn't go for a black wash on this is because I didn't want to take the warmth away from the red in the scarf or make the armor look too dark. So umber's a nice wash to use as an in-between if you want to add a little bit of, detail and weathering effect, but without really making it deeper in tone or darker in tone.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, and then sepia everywhere else.
Pretty much.
I am hardcore running out of places on this paper plate. Mostly because of the amount of water that I had used to water down some stuff. There's just a pool of red, yellow, and orange on my paper plate.
That's fair, though.
It is kind of visually appealing, but it is making it hard to be like, where am I putting this wash? Oh no. Okay, corner right here. Fortunately, you don't need much in the way of wash.
No, you really don't.
Okay.
Where'd I put it?
Uh-oh.
My sepia.
Uh-oh.
There it is. Found it.
Okay. Okay, good.
I thought I had put it someplace safe. I did, back where it was before. Not on my desk.
How dare you put it away?
Right?
How dare you put it where it's supposed to go?
Yeah, what was I thinking?
Mm-hmm.
So in the sepia, it's more of a warmer tone. Start with her tail.
I started with the wings.
Ooh, fun.
Trying to use just enough. I don't want it to pool too much in the interior of the wings, but I do love a good wash, bringing out all the details. So finding just the right amount of wash is going to be interesting. Ooh. Oh yeah, we still have a couple of minutes, so if anybody does have any last bits of questions, go ahead and put those in chat for Gabe to grab. We're coming up on the end of the Orkira Kit Bash. which has felt longer than it really is because we took the week off to do
We
Twiggy.
did,
Like
yeah.
it didn't actually take this long. It just feels like it took a lot longer because of the break, which
Right.
is fine because Twiggy was fun.
Twiggy was a lot of fun to do. And I'm pretty proud of that speed paint. We got 3 minis painted in 2 hours. Not even 2 hours.
Right?
And they came out
That
looking
was
adorable too. So
absolutely.
I'm quite happy with how we progressed with that day. All right, where am I going now? I got that arm. Ooh, the head.
I got that arm. I got that leg.
That's just I'm playing the where do I need to have this happen?
Mm-hmm. So I'm very proud of my tuft from certain
Mm-hmm.
angles.
Okay.
From certain angles, it looks amazing. From other
Great.
angles, it's a very thin fireball. From the front, it is
Mm-hmm.
an impressive fireball display. From the side, it's a fireball trying to squeeze through a door,
Well,
which is
I mean, it
kind of
was
funny.
a narrow casting, I guess. I don't know.
But I'm very happy with how it's looking in general and
Awesome.
the fieriness of it. I just realize as I'm doing the same thing, looking around for any spots that I have missed that need a wash, and I'm like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
from this angle, fireball looks like it's just trying to stay really, really, really thin.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's an excellent question. A Rough
Mm.
Rider. Um,
Yes.
well, two excellent questions. Any one shots or special streams we should keep an eye out for this weekend? Nothing extra special that I can think of, but I will say that Rivals of Waterdeep, which has moved to
Mm-hmm.
every other week, is on this weekend. So definitely check out Rivals if you can. And then as far as what's on tap for next week, I
For
don't
Paint and
remember
Slay?
offhand. Yeah, for Peyton Slay, but we've got there it is. I was gonna
Mind
go pull up the
Flayer.
thing.
Frameworks Mind Flayer.
Yeah.
So we have some fun.
Because we just spent all of Greengrass going after a mind flayers and the Elder Brain. So now it's time to,
Now
make
it's
a
time to
mind
kind of
flayer
nod
happen.
to that. Exactly.
Exactly.
All right. I need just a little bit more of the Umber Wash for the shield. Oop.
Yep, I'm just finishing up actually the back of the shield.
There you go.
It's funny that you say that.
Now
But
that you mention
I
it.
think otherwise. Once again, I'm just gonna have to take, like always, pictures, but
Yeah.
you can get a rough idea. I am really happy with how these wings turned out. They look super
Awesome.
cool.
That's good. That's definitely good.
I'm happy with how the whole thing turned out, but the wings especially, I think, are.
Well, and the fun thing is this wasn't altogether a unit piece of itself. This is something we built and created, and now look at it.
Yeah.
Look at how far she's come.
Yay!
All right, and it's looking like my base is dry enough. I'm gonna go in with the Umber Wash on the base.
Okay. Yeah, I think mine is as well, so. I'm also slightly less worried about putting a wash over something than I am like with dry brushing because I feel like if I'm doing a wash, and maybe I'm wrong, but if I'm doing a wash and something isn't completely dry, it's not necessarily going to smear all over the place the same way as I've found it does if I dry brush on something that's wet.
Yeah. You just have to be careful how you're applying and how much you're applying and everything like that. I mean, you still run the risk of it bleeding colors, but you can see how that is now looking.
Yeah.
Look at this. Look at this. We did that.
We did it.
We done did
awesome.
it. Yeah. So this is the fun part, kind of holding it up above the skin art. Look at that. You can definitely see an influence. So that's really a lot of fun.
You match the colors like perfectly. Like mine are real close, but like looking at the back and forth, that is
not fun.
Yeah. There she is.
There
And
she
while the
is.
shield was technically canonical as of 2 weeks ago, it is now actually canonical.
Canonical.
She is actually using it instead of it just being something in her bag for reasons that you'll just have to watch the Adventurer's Guide to the Multiverse from Wednesday.
There you go. But yeah, this I think this is pretty much one of those things where we want to make sure this dries completely now before we put it onto that lovely clear disc that comes with the minis.
Oh yeah.
From WizKids. And I'm going to quickly remove Hemingway hair. That's Hemingway joining us.
I mean, Orkira likes cats.
Right? It's like, what is that thread? Oh, that's a Hemingway hair. So going to let this dry completely before I take it off the tack because I don't want to touch anything down here because this is all very fresh and wet paint, especially with the wash on top of it. I don't want to risk inadvertently peeling things off, especially because I'm really happy about that one. So then this will go on the clear base so that it's a little bit more stable, which I would definitely recommend because we've added wings onto this creature. So make sure it goes onto its round disc, whether it's the black disc or the clear disc, depending on which print edition essentially you get from the miniature group. But yeah, this is Orkira. All set and ready to go. And then next week, like we talked about, we're going to be doing the Frameworks run of the Mind Flayer. So you get one miniature, but it has some customizable options to it, as you can see here. So we do get this lovely little intellect devourer with it, as well as an extra brain and a skull, because who doesn't want a little extra brain or a skull? And you can see there's different arm styles and even like head styles. So I'll tell you this right now, Lauren and I are going to be making this to pretty much assemble as it appears on the front of the box. We are going to have fun and kind of take the extra brain and extra skull and put something on the base with the Mind Flayer and then something on the base with the Intellect Devourer, just to kind of have some fun with that. And if you haven't seen these before, these are sprue-based miniatures. So this is a put it together yourself type of thing. And for those of you who are newer to the show, I want to make sure you see this so you know what you're getting into. So this is something where when you get the mini, some assembly is required. Okay, so
but the assembly is the fun part.
The
and you get to
is the
say
fun part.
Sprue a lot, which is just it's just fun to say sprue. I don't know why. It's just a fun word.
Yeah, but you get everything you need in this kit in terms of the pieces. However, you will need additional tools like a sprue cutter, which they do sell this. The Prismatic Paints do have a set with a sprue cutter, a file, and then also, what was the other piece? This tool, the file, and what was the third item that came in it that I'm now blanking on?
I'd go dig mine out, but they're kind of at the bottom.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know where I put the rest of the set, but it comes basically with pieces that you'll need for putting things together. And you'll also need liquid super glue because we're going to be sticking these together. And you will also need to make sure you have primer, okay? Because this isn't something that you can paint directly right away. That is untreated plastic, okay? So once we put this together, we will prime these minis to get them ready for the painting. So next week is really going to be more assembly and priming. And the week after, we will do the painting of these. And then, yes, I love that chat's like, not the gel. Yes, liquid super glue, not the gel, because the gel is not a good bond for these types of things. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be our plans for next week for painting. I'm really excited for that one.
For the next couple of weeks, too.
Yeah. So that'll be good. And then, again, don't forget, Nixie was just announced. Yay! Our next lovely champion, another champion from Deerstalkers, One for All. If you haven't watched these yet, Nixie and Orkira.
Just
fireball,
holding on to fireballs, just being all happy with fire.
Right? So Nixie's going to be joining the game on Wednesday of next week, which should be a lot of fun during the running. So check that one out. And then we have... Time Gate Weekend is in process right now. I saw some of you going back and forth in the chat. Very cool. And then you have the Weekend Buff going on too for the Archmage Dark Magic Weekend. And you get the gold chest too. That's not a bad thing. Sign up for that newsletter. Make sure you're getting those. Like once a week, you get a free chest. I mean, that's not a bad deal. And then Monday, don't forget a familiar quest.
Hey!
That'll be going on. So we have Eugenio Vargas as DM, along with the rest of the cast, going through these fantastic antics. Make sure you come ready to laugh. I'm going to tell you this right now. Oh my God. Last week, my sides, I literally had to stop and stretch afterwards because my stomach muscles were so tight from cracking up. I want to get a counter for how many times they break Eugenio.
Oh, we're already in double digits
Yes,
easily, very easily.
absolutely. They have him cracking up so many times just from the things they come up with for how they're going to play through the next scenario. It is amazing. So yeah, do tune in if you have the time. That is at 5 p.m. Pacific on this very channel. It's tons of fun. I promise you, chat and the cast have a great time seeing the antics these adorable little familiars get up to. And I think that's pretty much it for us for now.
That is pretty much it. So this is the end of our broadcast day because there's no formation save coming up after us. But Garwar's guide to everything will be tomorrow. So come back tomorrow for that fun stuff. And then come back on the Monday and also check out our Discord, discord.gg/idlechampions in order to see all of the details for everything that we will be using next week for the Mind Flayer. And hey, if you've been enjoying painting along, you can go ahead and post your whatever you've been painting in that channel as well. Because we like to see, even if you're not making Orkira, like, not everybody needs to make an Orkira. I mean, everybody should have her in the game, but not everybody needs to make an Orkira. But hey, if you've been doing your own mini painting and having fun with it, go ahead and post pictures in that channel because I love looking at that. I always learn something.
Fun.
There's always something where I'm like, holy wow, that is a super
it's
cool
fun seeing
leg.
people pull these together. And like I do see them, I do jump in when I have a moment to kind of check things out, and it's really fun seeing stuff for sure.
Absolutely.
So, that's it. And then thanks to Gabe for helping us out in the chat today.
Thank you, Gabe.
It's appreciated. All right, everyone. Have a great week. We will see you next week. And until then, take care and bye-bye.